I'm back in Teelin at the foot of Slieve League on the Pilgrim Trail, where I shot my first video. And the reason why I've come back here is I'm going to repackage what I did the first time round. I shot my video because I was reliving an experience running a 65k event that I was recceing, and I thought 5 years later, let's have another go at it. I put a bike on the course in order to shorten the trek, and I had a plan B which was going to take me on another route on the Glencolumbkille Way instead of doing the route that I was doing if I got too tired or if the weather got the better of me. And there was a little bit of being tired and there was a little bit of the weather getting the better of me, and I stuck to the Glencolumbkille Way. Now, I was researching doing other long distance walks, and one of the walks that came to mind was the International Appalachian Trail. Now, by coincidence, because I took that alternative route, I ended up doing the first leg of the International Appalachian Trail. So what better, I think, to do than to do the entire International Appalachian Trail. So I'm back where I started, just to re-edit the beginning. I don't need to do the 40k trek that I have already done, but what I'm going to do is pick it up at the other end and do this in sections, not all in one day, not all in 1 week, but do it in sections, come back and do various legs. I'm also going to do part of it on a bicycle, or maybe all of it on a bicycle. I'm not quite sure what the terrain allows. I'm going to cycle from Ardara to Glen Head and beyond down to Donegal town and leg one. So we'll see how that goes. That's a trail that I've never been on, so I don't know how bike friendly it is. But and I'm not the most technical biker in the world, but it should be interesting. So I'm heading up the Pilgrim Trail, as you can just see behind me here. Ends up in the same place as the coastal path, so we'll certainly get plenty of views of the coast, in addition to what we just looked at there in the background. A bit of a mix of a morning, but actually quite cold for the 12th of July. But under the circumstances, I better get marching. You can see the path rising just in front of us as it goes up, zigzags up across the contours, leading up to the rugged ridge you can see up ahead there, and it merges with the path coming up from the car park on the far side of that hill. As you go up the trail on the coastal path, you meet a lot of these stone sculptures. Didn't quite expect to see this one on this trail, but I remember talking to a local about them, and he was quite appalled that, what are you doing? You're surrounded by natural, beautiful stone and beautiful landscape, so what on earth have they put these things in for? More engineering marvels. What a cool bit of engineering. Caution. We've reached the waterfall and viewing the end of the broad path. It's the end. Well, it's just the beginning of our day. At least I've taken the hat off. So we're up in a bit of a East River. Fortunately, you can still see the yellow rocks. And we've come across this structure here. I seem to remember on an ordnance survey for this area, I think it's 150,000. It showed a church, and you get near the summit. I think this is where we meet finally the other trail coming up the coastal path. We get the great view. Wow, look at that. Isn't that spectacular? This is all part of the fun of the mountains. You can walk any mountain range in the mist and you're just walking mountains in the mist. Hopefully the one-man pass will be clear because you get great views down onto the coast to the left and then back inland and a bit of coast on the right. Always makes it worthwhile. But it's just great being here. What a cool spot. I've been here quite a few times when I've done this route. As you come past the trig point, eventually the ground starts to drop away in front of you and you drop down into a valley and you cross this river further up. But it's worth hanging a left towards the fence line that follows the coast along a bit of a gravel path, and then you drop down and you hit this river. Absolutely worth the detour. You can stop off at the water here, cool your feet off, get a drink of water on a warm day. Certainly not doing the cooling off today, but the atmosphere of this little spot is just worth that little detour. You do lose a fair bit of height. Obviously you have to climb back up out of here, whereas if you just stayed further up you'd cross the stream and you'd get a drink just as easily. But I would recommend taking the detour. So here we have Malin Head, a rewarding sight. You kind of know you're getting back to civilization momentarily. Here we are at the Farmer's Trail, as I would call it. A distinctive feature on the map with the stream and the start of the track that leads you down to the farmyard. Always reassuring to find something on the map that relates to where you're standing. But when you look across the bay there and you reflect on what we've been looking at today, starting overlooking Teelin Bay, going up over through the mist over the summit and dropping down the back end here, it's just so fantastic. These long walks are really something. There's a bit of history about the place. There's 3 observation towers. One that you pass, you kind of have to know it's there on the way up to the car park at Slieve League. There's one that we'll be walking past quite close to later on at Glen Head. And there's one out to the left there, which just out past the beach, but we'll not be heading out to that. It's a wee bit of a detour. So here we are at the end of the Slieve League leg. We're just joining the road between Malin Head and Glencolumbkille. So that's very exciting. Left at about 7:15 It's now about 9:45. So we've come to the first crossroads. If you go straight on, you go past the beach and the sand dunes, and it's certainly worth a visit. And just opposite that on the right, there's the folk park, which can be interesting. The laneway immediately after the folk park takes you up the Dooey Hostel, so it basically joins up with where we're going now. But I like this quiet road. It's a single track road, no vehicles on it, just up here on the left. My suggestion, if you fancy the beach, go the other way. Here we are, taking the wee up this way marked trail. This goes past Dooey Hostel. So there's the beach that you can access from the main road. When the tide's in, there's a bit of a stream. So here we have Dooey Hostel, looking very organic, sitting there overlooking the bay below. The last time I stayed there was about 5 years ago when I was wrecking the beast. Prior to that, it was probably 25 years ago with my kids. Although it's called Dooey Hostel, it's also carries the nickname of Mad Mary's. Certainly the woman who used to run the place was called Mary. And when I asked her, she said, "No, I'm not Mad Mary, that was a predecessor." But the Mary there was a very, very colourful character. Swore like a trooper. Kids absolutely loved her. She was such a character. Really made the place. So it's a great stop off if you were doing a trek like this one. It's very convenient. It gets you down onto the beach. It's a cool spot. There's Puppy. So here we are, just dropped into Glencolumbkille. You can see the church in the background, the continuation of the waymark signs. When you go down here, the road splits into two. The one that goes past the church and up to the transmitter in the background there. We're going left. What a cool spot. Left. So this is the other side of the beach. The road at this point splits. The main road, if you're in a car, goes round to the left, but this is for pedestrian access, and this is the route you'll obviously take if you're walking. So we're just about to go off-road again. I've come round there from the left past the farmyard, and you could have come around that way, but in a car and park here if you wanted to come up here just to do the walk on its own. As you can see, we're back on a waymark route. All very exciting to get going again. So at a point, the track goes on up into that valley up ahead, but we want to hit the coast. So there's a bit of a natural trail out to the left, which will take us up onto a slightly more worn trail you can just about see rising up there. Take us out to the coast. So here we have the observation tower. Must have been an interesting lifestyle back in the day, living in the observation tower with your musket, looking out to sea and waiting for something to happen, when nothing really happened as far as I'm aware. But there's Slieve League still sitting in the mist, looking very dramatic as always. Warning, cliff edge. That's why I'm here. I've come for the cliff edge, but I don't fancy doing what that guy was up to there. You can just see the fence up ahead there. So here we are at the cliff edge. Looking very dramatic.
One of those cool spots for climbers. There's that poor lookout point being allowed to deteriorate. It's a shame. You can see the stonework at the top. This collapsed quite a bit and it's not going to take much. If you're up there you can just push it over. Shame they don't put a roof on it and restore it. While you can, just let it fall apart and go, oh dear, look, it fell apart. It's a cool coastline around here. Here's the Stirl, I believe it's called. What a cool landscape. It's just so epic. And the more dramatic coastline it has to offer. Well, the weather has gone a bit rough. The temperature has certainly dropped. One of the cameras has let me down, so I'm having to use my phone here. So let's review things when I get on port. I can't help stopping and taking video footage of this place. It is just amazing. Up ahead is the white bouldery beach of Port. Up to the right there's a deserted village. We're just coming up to the single track road that leads down into Port. Well, I'm doing this as one of those future self things where I've come back to Port. Because when I came back through here the last time, a front must have just come in as I was coming in, and it got really cold and wet. So I put on my extra layer and got out of here as quick as I could. But that meant I missed showing off this amazing place just as well as I might have. This is a staggering little spot. For the dramatic bit of coastline, and it's not actually that well known, surprisingly enough, but there's plenty of photographs, plenty of videos of the place. But I guess part of the problem down here is the road that takes you in here. It's a good road for cycling in, but it's not a great road for driving in. You have to have a bit of a nerve when it comes to passing another car. On the horizon there's the radio mast. I had kind of naively hoped that there'd be a bit of catch a sunset here, but Irish weather being what it is, I'll settle for this and enjoy every moment. There's also quite a bit of history. There's some information on a ship that has sunk and all hands lost. And just over there is an abandoned village. But beside us here are the remains of the deserted village. Always pretty eerie whenever you come to one of these places, when you think about the history. So eventually along the road we come to this turn off, which takes us up a farmer's track and then goes round to the right, and then we go up into that valley between these hills and these hills. Very glad somebody's provided the bridge. Fancy trying to jump over that. There we go, luxury and little friendly style. Sorry guys, just having come over the valley, this is a bit of a point I made earlier about how you come over one valley and into another and everything changes. Very cool. So looking forward to hitting the road over there and getting a bit of speed up hopefully. So dropped into the next valley. Actually took my woolly hat off. Temperature has improved slightly again, and I'm just below Slieve League, or part of it. So if I hadn't been doing my other trail, I'd have just been up on the other side of that ridge, running down towards the beach there. But I don't get the views of the beach quite the same today, but this is rather cool. I don't remember so many waterfalls. Cool. So just down here is where I expected to pop out on the road, having dropped down off those hills before I changed my route. It's the way the beast race would have went, and the way I went whenever I was testing the course. My legs, I've ran down that hill and my legs certainly felt it. So there's the beach of Maghera down that way, and the caves, needless to say. But we're heading on here. You can see the marvellous sand dunes up ahead. It's a huge area that beach covers. So we're about 100 metres past the waterfall along the road following the beach. The tide's out at the moment, which looks quite well. We come to this little trail junction and a map board. Now we're going straight on along the main road, but there's a very interesting walk if you ever get a chance to do it, which follows this line. So that's the waterfall when we are heading on the road onto the main road and into Ardara. But this road, this trail, which is that gravelly trail just up there, takes you right up onto the top of the hill, follows the river that feeds the waterfall, and it's quite dramatic walking up there. There's a lot of mini waterfalls all the way up until you get to the top, and then it's all extremely calm and a completely different world. But that's a walk for another day. We're beginning to see some civilization, a lot more houses about the place, considering our journey through the wilderness. There's a lot more going on. Unfortunately, I'm a bit too late in the day to take advantage of the home-baked treats ahead, but I'll not be long before I'm in civilization. Still a quite striking landscape as you follow the road back. And here at last we have some civilization. There's a service station just around the corner that does food, and there's no shortage of eateries when you actually get into the town itself. So the trail that I'm going to start tomorrow from Ardara is off-road again, goes into Glenties and then stays. The Blue Stack Trail continues on road, country road, over a hill, and then it's off trail right down past the loch. Now the handy thing is we get quite close to Donegal, so it gives you an opportunity to nip in to get some food before heading out and continuing on. So there's a great smell of fish and chips from a mobile chipper back along the road there, so I think I'll take advantage of that.